following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sling'n Proffet podcast. As always, I am your host, Andrew Daly, joined by my co-host, my sidekick, my prophet. Prophet, what's going on, man? I feel like everybody in America is licking their wounds a little bit the way this NFL season has started off. But tell me about your week and tell me how things are going in the world of Prophet land.
Things are they've been really hectic the past couple of days. Just trying to turn the table. I mean, hell, last week was probably it was my first losing week financially since week 2 of last season's football, and it was probably my worst week in 20 years that I've ever had. It's been rough. It just means we got to do more work. That's all.
Well, spoken like a true gambler, right? There's always next week, or there's always tomorrow, right?
That's right. That's right.
I'll tell you what. We'll talk about it obviously later in the show. But we talked about last week being a crazy start to the season, and we didn't expect to follow it up with another week of craziness, but we have, and just that we were just talking before the show, the way things are working out, these teams that are leading the divisions and teams that are winless, like you talk about the Bengals, we can go, the list goes on and on and on, but what a wild start to the week, or to the season. Obviously, NFL season going into week 4 now. We got a huge lineup for you tonight. As always, we're going to talk about our weekly pick'em sponsored by Advanced Sports. We're going to talk about our games of the week. We got the jug handle game of the week. We got our weekly roundup segment as always, and like you said, Prophet, we got the picks of the week or the plays of the week, and there's always chance to bounce back. Listen, at least you're still in 4 digits or 4 figures, because if you look at my bets, they're not doing so hot. So, but I guess that's notorious for me.
That's okay, yeah, because I'm the one that's supposed to be up there. You're the one that if you're up there, that's great,
Yeah.
But.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is what it is. But
it doesn't bother me. Anybody that gambles, and makes a living, or okay, even if you don't make a living out of doing it, that you're going to go through times where you're going to lose. That's why it's called gambling. It's not called winning. It's called gambling, and you're going to lose from time to time. Got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get right back in there, man. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself every week after week after week of losing or gambling, as you so call it, because it's not called losing, it's called gambling, right? So that's how I justify it. But it kind of leads us into our first topic. As always, we're going into our What's Happening segment. And where do people go to gamble, Prophet, besides Atlantic City? I would say Sin City, right? Vegas.
Las Vegas.
And that's where our first story of the week is taking us. It's taking us to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Prophet, did you hear about this story?
It's funny because I was reading about it this morning when, before I saw that we were touching on it, and I got a lot of feelings about this, and
I'm curious to hear them, and I'll get into it here. If you guys didn't hear, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV as they're known, they're off to a red hot start. They're off to a 3-0 start. Red hot. They're playing well. They're playing good football. Spirits are high in Las Vegas. But yesterday, the starting quarterback, Matt Sluka, announced his intentions to take a red shirt, and red shirt means he's going to sit out the rest of the season, and he intends to transfer now, I guess, so he can enroll somewhere in the spring, participate in a spring practice with another team, and play next season for another team. This kid is a graduate player, so he's only got 1 year of eligibility. So he's taking his red shirt now, and he'll play 1 year at another school. And I'm going to read to you a quote from Matt Sluka, the quarterback of UNLV. And I do want to add that there's been more to this story since this morning that came out. And we'll talk about that too. But I'm going to read you a quote here. I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. He posted on X, formerly Twitter. Despite discussions, it became clear that in these commitments that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season, and I hope for the continued success of the program. Sluka was 21 of 48 this year with 318 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also had 286 rushing yards and a touchdown. Now, since this story broke, he's been getting a lot of backlash for quitting on his team. You could talk about the NIL and kids getting paid, and the kid's not going to – he just quits on his team for not being paid, yada, yada, yada. But now, as of probably 3 hours ago, the UNLV running back, the 4th leading rusher on the team, has come out and with his intentions of taking a red shirt and his plans on transferring. So it seems like there's a trickle-down effect here that's going on, and maybe what meets the eye isn't what meets the eye, and there's something else bigger going on here at UNLV. Now, my initial reactions, Prophet, and I'll let you go here in a second, but my initial reactions were, man, this kid's selfish. He quit on his team. What the heck's this guy doing? They're 3-0. They're off to a great start, and you're just going to take a red shirt and then go play somewhere else next year? That was my initial reaction. And then I kind of sat back. I thought about it more. I did a little bit more research, and I'm siding with the kid here. Okay? And I'm doing that because your promise, granted, here's your first problem. You always get it in writing. Whatever you do, you always get it in writing. But there's many reports out there that he was promised $100,000 to play for this program, blah blah blah, through the collective or whatever it might be, and he didn't receive it. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But here's the way I look at it. You go to an employer, you go to a job under the assumption that you're going to make X amount of money. And I don't care what your thoughts are on the fact that college football players are getting paid now. That is the nature of the business. That is the nature of college football. That's what happens now. So whether you think it's that should be outlawed or not, that's irrelevant because it's allowed. So you go somewhere expecting X amount of dollars, and when you get there and you go to work and you're working for these people and you're making these people money and you're not getting paid X amount of dollars, hold up. I'm hitting the brakes there. Okay, what's going on? You guys told me I was going to be making this much, and now you're going to tell me that I'm doing the same work and I'm only making this much? That's not fair to me. We see it all the time. We see injuries happen all the time. These kids can get hurt, career-ending injuries, whatever it might be, and they're not protected. Now, the nature of the business of college football and the nature of NIL right now is these kids have the means, the ability to be able to protect themselves and set themselves up financially for the future. I'm all for that. And if that's the case here with this Sluka kid, and he was told one thing and promised the world, and he's not getting it, dude, it's slimy on the part of UNLV. It's slimy on the coaching staff. It's slimy on the collective. Now, if that was never the case, that never happened, then so be it. And there's another side of this story. But I'm thinking, and I'm starting to lean towards believing the kid, because this, like I said, is having a little bit of a trickle effect here. So if you want to blame somebody here, you blame the NCAA for creating this monster. All right. You don't blame the kids. You blame the institution. That's my take on it. Prophet, let's hear what you have to say, man.
Well, when I started reading this article, okay, I agree with you. Okay, my first reaction was, selfishness, but then you start reading as to why. Okay, now, there's a lot of things we don't know the story, so it's hard to make an educated opinion on it. We don't know whether he's blowing smoke, whether UNLV legitimately is, sticking it to him. My point, though, is when you come in, like you said, you get it in writing, and then you don't go and start 3 games with your teammates and then decide, oh, hell, if I play another game, I lose another year of eligibility.
My last year of eligibility.
Yeah, and you back out at that point. I mean, that sucks. That's a bullshit move on his part. Okay, no matter what the situation is, because we obviously don't know what his backup quarterback can do. They're 3-0. They beat two Big 12 teams already. They have a shot at making the playoffs based on the way they've been playing. But do they now? Now is 100 kids, left out.
Yeah, but Proffet. We haven't had much to debate about this year so far, so I'm going to debate you on this. It's not a BS move on the kid to start 3 games and to leave, because if he goes to the coaching staff or whoever's running the collective there or the NIL stuff, and he says, "You guys promised me this, okay? Am I going to be paid this or am I not going to be paid this? Because if I'm not playing another down and blowing my eligibility because I have X, Y, and Z offering me this, and this next year if I come and play for them. Why wouldn't I set myself up as a 23-year-old kid for that kind of money?"
Well,
like, okay, you know what I'm saying? You can't.
You make a fair point. Okay, you do. What I'm saying is, don't start the season.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that you're not getting. You don't know. He didn't know that he wasn't going to get paid what he was promised.
That's okay.
So you start the season and say, "Hey, I hope things work out. Whatever. I'll start the season and I'll see how things go." And now you're at the point of no return almost, to where you're going to lose your year of eligibility. Now, if this kid goes and transfers to, let's say, I don't know, Kansas, and he makes $250,000 next year who is this kid going to go to the NFL and make a living? Who knows? Probably not. He's only thrown for $300. So, but if he can go to Kansas and make $200,000 guaranteed next year, hell yeah, I'm taking the red shirt. Wow. And like I said, it's not the kid's fault. It's the NCAA's fault for creating this monster.
Exactly.
It's the NCAA's fault for creating this monster and having no regulations on it. And this is going to continue to happen until something changes with the NCAA and some kind of jurisdiction comes down, and there's got to be a strict standard of rules that need to be followed. And right now there's not. And it's the freaking wild, wild west like you see here. So, no, I don't blame the kid. If he's got money on the line, life-changing money, what the hell would I do for $100,000? Like, come on,
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I personally think it's a bullshit move what he did to his team. But I feel that way too about guys not playing in bowl games. But
it comes down to a money thing. It comes down to putting yourself in the best possible situation. How can you even say that about bowl games?
Yeah.
Well, you go out there and you blow your ACL in a bowl game, or you blow your knee in a bowl game, and you can't play. You got bona fide NFL potential, and you're talking millions of dollars. Come on.
Or you blow your knee at the, in Indianapolis at the team meets and all before the season. It's the same thing. Sling, this has just come into play over the last 3-4 years now, okay? For 100 years, it's been the other way. And, has there been incidents where people got hurt late in the season? Yes, there has, okay? But for the most part, I mean, you play your games, you go on to the NFL if you're good enough.
Yeah, but guess what? The college football playoffs changed that whole thing, because if you're not in the playoffs and you're playing in the Birmingham Cheez-It Bowl or whatever the hell it is, okay, that's a chance for your redshirt freshman to play and see what you have for next year. It's not a chance for my third-round projected running back to go out there and can potentially hurt himself. So.
Not today, it isn't. But right. It always had been in previous years.
We're moving on. We're sticking with college though. Kent State loses 2 starting QBs in one game this week. One local kid, Devin Cargman, was a Woodrow Wilson kid. He's out for the season. His backup came in. He got injured. He's out for the season. And I put in here schedule negligence. And Kent State went out to Penn State. And I believe they got paid $1.5 million to do so, which is all well and good. All these teams do it, right? But what you don't realize is the week before, they went to the University of Tennessee and got paid to play at Tennessee and got beat 71-0, and then came out and got beat 59-0 or something like that to Penn State. And I put in here schedule negligence. What are we doing? At what point are we putting these kids at risk in order to fund our program? And it's not just the football program, because that money goes to the entire athletics, if I'm not mistaken, due to Title IX requirements and stuff like that. So that money goes to everybody. I'm pretty positive on that. But you're telling me that you're going to line up Kent State to go back-to-back against the University of Tennessee and then parade them into Happy Valley and go play Penn State? You lost your two freaking quarterbacks. Not only did you lose them, dude, these kids are injured with serious injuries. Who knows if they'll ever play again? For what? For some money. At what point do we say these things got to be regulated? You can only play, I don't know, one payday game per year or something along those lines. I don't know what the answer is, but I just don't agree with what Kent State did here. Playing Tennessee and Penn State back to back. You literally got beat 71-0 and then 59-0, I think the score was. What's your opinion on this?
Well, we differ again. Go figure. Okay. Number one, I don't know what Kent State was thinking either with scheduling these games, but I also don't know. I don't know how much money they needed. Okay. You just in the last segment said, we're talking about kids not playing because of money. Well, now the colleges are playing the kids for money, so, I mean, the pendulum's swinging both ways here.
But like I said, these kids are making individual choices for their financial future. These kids are not playing this game for their individual paychecks. They're playing the game for the university to get paid. That's a difference. Well, they're playing this game for the women's tennis team and the men's golf team.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Bodies on the line for it, and they're paying the price.
I don't know what Kent State needs to operate. Okay,
but they need a doctor to operate on their players.
Well, and you forgot the fact that they also had Pitt on their schedule the first week and got spanked went into Pittsburgh and got spanked by.
I didn't look that far back in the schedule, but they probably got paid for that one too.
Well, I'm sure they did, and but I mean, I don't know. We agree to disagree on these ones because, you get a team like Kent State or Miami of Ohio or Ball State, or they play against top programs in the bowl.
Yeah, because Miami of Ohio just played against. You talk about Northern Illinois just beat Notre Dame. Miami of Ohio played Notre Dame this week. Miami of Ohio played Northwestern. Miami of Ohio is a perennial MAC champion. That Kent State is not. Kent State could barely beat some of these FCS teams that come out and play.
Well, this year for sure. They ain't gonna beat any if they got them on their schedule now moving forward. I mean, no, I agree with you in the respect to how much is enough, and I don't know the answer to that question for Kent State, but to put 3 games like that on your schedule at the beginning of the season, no, I don't think it's right.
We're moving on. Pat yourself on the back here, Prophet.
No way. Pat on the back's only a short distance from a kick in the ass.
Well, Andy Dalton rejuvenated, throws for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. You said it last week. Andy Dalton gives this team the best chance to win. You also said pick up Chuba Hubbard in your fantasy league, and he went off. And I put that clip out there, and that was viewed over 1,000 times, I believe. Highly. What the hell am I looking for?
Liked.
Highly liked. Very well viewed. I was going to say highly profitable, but it was not highly profitable. It was highly reputable. That's the word I was looking for there. So, what did you think about Andy Dalton and his performance this week?
Not surprised at all, and I'm not being smart, because I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, and I said it a few weeks ago, and I went back and I checked it today. This receiving core that he has is probably the best receiving core that he's ever had to throw.
Not anymore.
Well, Adam Thielen got hurt and is on the IR.
Thielen is out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, at least 4 weeks. But he's still got Deontay Johnson. He's got Jonathan Mingo, and he got Xavier Legette. You know, they're 2 first round picks in the last 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if this team makes some noise, being in the NFC South now. Look, you disagreed last week that Dalton gave this team, the best chance of winning.
No. All right, we're going to disagree this whole show, and that's fine. It makes for good television. I never said I disagree with Dalton giving them the best chance. I said they have more problems than just quarterback.
Well, yeah, but you also said you did say that, but you also said you weren't sure that Dalton was any better than Bryce Young.
I don't know if I said that. I did say that Dalton gives. I did agree with you that he probably gives them the best chance to win. But I also said that this team doesn't just need a quarterback. You go out here, you win one game. We're talking one game, or can we put it together for a whole season? Because the offensive line isn't that good. You're swearing by these receivers. I haven't seen it with the receiving core, but
they've been getting the ball thrown to them from Bryce Young, Bryce Young is not a quarterback for an NFL team.
Yes, Larry. Andy Dalton has played for every team in the
probably
NFL.
About 8 or so now. Well, let me see. Cincy, Saints, Dallas, right. Chicago, Carolina.
We're going to keep it moving.
So, but watching this game though, you see the whole different changed attitude with these guys on Carolina, man. I mean,
I agree. I think that they were playing a lot tougher. Yes.
Yeah, they were actually happy to be out there playing.
Well, they knew they had a shot to win, so
right.
I think that's going to continue. But we're moving on. Did you see Mike Tomlin announced? Or Mike Tomlin says he won't announce Justin Fields as a starting quarterback, even though the Steelers are off to a 3-0 start. He won't commit to naming Fields QB1, and I can't wrap my mind around it. But a quote here: Tomlin says because there's no explanation needed. Tomlin said when he asked why he won't name Fields the permanent starting quarterback. I explained to you the variables of the week. It is nothing has changed since then. Why won't he just come out and say, yeah, Justin's our quarterback. We're going to roll with him. He's got us in a good spot. What's the fascination here with Russell Wilson and not wanting to hurt feelings? Do you have any idea? Because I can't make sense of it.
Well, I mean, I don't have any firsthand knowledge of it, to say the least. But why does he have to say that Fields is the QB1? It's obvious. They're 3-0. He's not playing great, but he's managing the team well with that defense.
Yep.
And to turn around and say, okay, Fields was my starter the rest of the way out, or for the foreseeable.
No, but that's
future.
What I'm saying. What at the first, he's not gonna name him his starter, so that way he's got a crutch to lean on when at the first sign of something going wrong, he can yank him and say, well, he was never really our starter in the first place. Like that's not fair to Fields. That's not fair to Fields. And you say why does he have to name him a starter? Because they're quarterbacks and they have egos and they're delicate. Right. Because I don't always want to be looking over my shoulder because you're not going to tell me if I'm the starting quarterback for the team or not.
And, and then on the flip side of that, that's one of the reasons why he's not doing it probably is because of Russell Wilson's ego.
Is Wilson health? I just saw Wilson was a scratch. Was he scratched last week? I know he was scratched a week before, and he's still in full pads. Like, if that's not the most Russell Wilson thing to do, he's such a weirdo, man. He's like, what are you doing in full pads? You're not even active.
But right now, okay, if Tomlin says Fields is his quarterback the rest of the way out, okay, with all the quarterbacks that have gone down, all the teams that need quarterbacks right now, yeah, Wilson's going to be looking for a trade. And they got it good right now. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, but you just said, well, Fields knows he's the starting quarterback. Everybody knows. Don't you think Russell knows that? Why wouldn't he be looking for a trade now anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he does, but it hasn't been said.
I just think it's wishy-washy by Tomlin. Tomlin needs to step up and just announce him as the starting quarterback. And like Larry said, Fields wasn't the problem in Chicago, man. I agree with him. I thought Fields had potential and never got to show it. Talking about another quarterback, is Trevor Lawrence on the hot seat yet? Is Doug Peterson on the hot seat, or is the entire Jaguars organization on the hot seat? This team is 0-3. Trevor Lawrence is throwing at about a 47% clip. He's got more interceptions and touchdowns. This kid, I said, I can't stress it enough. Never been a fan of this guy, but what Peterson said, everything's on the table when it comes to personnel changes. He said from staff to players to this to this to this to that. Is Trevor Lawrence being benched on the table here? And if so, where do they go from here?
Trevor Lawrence isn't getting benched, okay?
Oh.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence just signed a $275 million contract. I don't know how much of it was guaranteed, but if they put him on the bench and put Mac Jones in there, unless Mac Jones turns his team around and they start winning games, Peterson's head is going to roll by week 5, because that's the only thing that would save him benching Lawrence. Mac Jones would have to go in there and ignite a spark. And guess what? They don't have the personnel on the offensive side of the ball. They need a receiver big time for him. And I don't even think that's going to help him. The more I see of him, the more I am agreeing with you. He is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, I just like this picture that I posted up here. For those of you who can see, it's Trevor Lawrence getting absolutely mangled. But like I said, I had never been a Trevor Lawrence guy. I am a Doug Peterson fan, but a lot of rumblings that he's on the hot seat too. He's not really. I mean, Shad Khan comes out and says that this is the best Jaguars team that they've had in 20 years, and you're sitting here at 0-3.
Oh, right.
Not a very good look. And Larry chimes in. Thank you, Larry, for fact checking us in real time. Kind of like ABC News. Never mind. I'm not going to go down that road. 142 million guaranteed for Trevor Lawrence. So, I don't see them benching him, but listen, you got to start playing at some point. Moving on. Big game this week, college football. We'll talk about it real quick. Georgia at Alabama. It's really the only really good game on the slate this week. You got number 2 and number 3, I think it is, right? Bama's number 3.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
2 and
4. So
yeah, I think it is.
You got the line on this game or no?
Bama's 2.5-point dog at home.
Yeah, Bama's 2.5-point dog at home. Listen, these two teams, I think, are cream of the crop. What am I saying? Cream of the crop right now. Bama's playing good football, as is Georgia, but Georgia squeaks by Kentucky 13-12 last week or 2 weeks ago. Which I don't like that. I'm going Bama, and I got Bama covering, especially at home. There's a new kind of rejuvenation in this Bama program with the new head coach, and these guys are playing really good football. Who do you got in this game?
Yeah, well, a couple of quick stats here. Bama is 8-2 the last 10 games against Georgia, and they're 4-0 as dogs against them in that span. Playing at home, I'm not completely sold on Georgia this year. I like the Tide, and I think I got them at 31-23.
31-23 Bama.
Yeah.
I don't know what the over-under is, but that's a pretty high-scoring game. Doesn't sound like an SEC over, but it does sound like a Georgia-Alabama over. So we're both going with the Tide. We will see what happens. You see my sign right here. Bama fans this way. We'll see what goes on. I got a game to call Saturday. Hopefully I'll be home in time to catch this one. I will be. I've been making it home by about 7 o'clock. So we're going to move into our weekly pick'em pool, sponsored by Advanced Sports. I tell you, Prophet, this thing is ever-changing, and I don't think I have to tell you that because you're the one who keeps reminding me it is a marathon, not a sprint. That's right, our weekly pick'em pool, sponsored by Advanced Sports, running all year. Big prizes to the winner at the end of the year, $100 Visa gift card and a $300 service package from Advanced Sports. Week 3 results, Farm Ball Sports. We got a new leader coming in. Farm Ball Sports comes in week 3 with a 10-6 record. Another weird week in the in the NFL. Tough to pick the winners of these games. We got Big Will coming in at 9-7, the Mighty Pound Cake coming in at 9-7, and K-Dog Daily, that would be my 16-year-old daughter, coming in at number 4 on the charts at 8-8. And we got the Peebs 8-8 with a bunch of other people. Radomir coming in at 8-8. That's your week 3 results. Now, your year-to-date leaderboard, we got Radomir with 31 points at 31-17, tied with 3 other players with 30 points with a 30-18 record. And then you got Laura checking in, still riding high off that big week 1, 15-1 record, 29-19. She's sitting here in 5th place. So tight race here at the top of the leaderboard. Again, it's a marathon. This thing is going to go down to the wire. Make sure you continue to get your teams and your picks in every week. Hey, it's free money, man. Why wouldn't you do it, right?
Who's at? What's the record of the team at the bottom of the page? I can't say it there.
I'm talking about the
what's on the screen. Is it 10
It's Johnny H. It's 11, and they're 26-22.
So they're in 11th place and only 5 games behind the leader with 14 weeks to go. It's anybody's ball game, people. Keep on putting them in.
Larry's number 12. Sorry, Larry, I cut it off at 11 because I couldn't fit it on the screen. So Larry's checking in at number 12. So, hey, like Prophet just said, though, it's anybody's ball game. My college coach used to tell me that the top 50 golfers in the world or something were separated by less than 2 strokes. So it's anybody's game here any given week. Hopefully this NFL starts coming into its own. I always use the term regression to the mean. Goes back, everything comes back to the way it's supposed to eventually. Maybe that'll happen in the NFL, maybe it won't. But if it doesn't, I'm a little bit nervous for our weekly picks here. So,
well, we gotta, you're a coach, man. Something ain't working at halftime, you got to make adjustments. And right now, I don't think adjustments need to be made. I think you got to be patient. But if we got to make adjustments, that's what we do.
We adapt and overcome. We're going right into our weekly roundup segment, the best segment of the week, the fastest 16 minutes in football or whatever the hell it is. But let's keep. We did a good job last week of keeping it under wraps, but we talked a lot during our what's happening segment. Man, I was hot. That segment got me going. But we're going into our weekly roundup here, and first up, we got the Jets return to form and pound the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers looked similar to his old self, going 27-35 for 281 and 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall checking in with 50 yards rushing and a touchdown. Jacoby Brissett not looking too hot over there in New England. 12 of 18 for 98 yards. Prophet, what'd you make of this game, and what'd you think about that weird? I never got the full story on that weird hug that was shrugged off by Aaron Rodgers. I think Salah wanted to give him a big hug after the first touchdown, and maybe Rodgers was kind of saying, hey, not yet. We're not done yet. Maybe that's what I was thinking of it.
Yeah, you know what? Like a lot of things, crap happens and it gets blown up, and before anybody knows, what's what, and it was no big deal. He pushed him. Salah said he wanted to be up 2 scores so that their defense could start playing, and Rodgers went over to him and gave him a little jam and said, there's your 2 scores. And I mean, they were kissing after the game. Last week, this was my only victory last week, okay, in the games of the week, and I picked the Jets to win this game easily. I didn't think it was going to be this easy. I think New England had like 48 yards or 64 yards, something like that. Some crazy number in the first half, and they only ended up with right around 100 for the game. I said it last week. I think the Jets are going to be good the rest of the year now. They're getting it all together.
Yeah, if they get that defense in order, which seems like they are, they're going to be dangerous, because I do think they got one of the best defenses in the league there in New York. But, hey, the Chiefs edge out the Falcons. But where is Travis Kelce, Prophet? Where is that man Mr. Kelsey. He's nowhere to be found. Chiefs beat the Falcons by a score of 22-17. Falcons were actually winning this game at halftime. And then the Chiefs come out and win the game in the second half. Patrick Mahomes goes 26-39 for 217, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Kirk Cousins goes 20-29 for 230, a touchdown and interception. Carson Steele, your running back you were talking about, came out and had himself a nice little day. He went 17 for 72, wasn't able to get into the end zone, but he had a nice little day there. Bijan Robinson got shut down, 16 for 31 and a touchdown. But the big one here is Travis Kelce, man, 4 catches for 30 yards, and he's just been nowhere to be found this season. And it makes you wonder, did he spend a little bit too much time partying this offseason and not enough time training for the NFL? That's my question.
Absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. He's been styling and profiling on them Lear jets that she owns. And, she says, hey, get over here to Japan. He's there. So, yeah, he'll come around. Last year was
he was late last year too, but he got it together. But
before we move on, I want to say something about this game. Okay, this was a big game. For me, I had the over in it, and every week you hear about the refs and the Chiefs. Okay, and I never put much faith in, there being any truth to it and all. But yet again this week now, and I went back and looked at a couple of the plays that were in question, and I don't know. I'm wondering if the Chiefs don't have something going on with the refs now. Yeah, the no pass interference call at the end of the game there, which changes the whole complex of the game. If they scored, they obviously probably would have won the game. The game might have gone over. They would have went for 2. It's like, I don't know. Maybe there is something to that theory, that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what one of our co-hosts used to say, though? Vegas,
yep.
Eagles inched by the Saints here by a score of whopping 15-12 in our jug handling game of the week from last week. Nobody got that score right. This game was it was boring. It was 3-0 until the fourth. It was 3-0 until the fourth quarter. Eagles dominated the total yards here by a tale of 460 to 219. All right, Jalen Hurts goes 29-38 for 311, no touchdowns and an interception. Okay. Derek Carr goes 14-25 for 142, a touchdown and a pick. Saquon Barkley goes off again, 17 for 147 and 2 touchdowns. This guy has just been having himself a year in Philadelphia, and the Giants have got to be kicking themselves. But you know what? Maybe they're not, because he couldn't do this in New York for whatever reason, whether it's the offensive line or what. He couldn't run like this, and maybe they're not kicking themselves. Kamara had himself a nice little game too, 26 for 87 yards. This game was boring. This game was marred by poor coaching decisions. If the Eagles lost this game, I guarantee you they're ready to run Nick Sirianni out of town, and I think some people still are. They're tired of his act. They're tired of his tough guy shtick. They're tired of his stupid decisions to go for it on 4th down instead of taking points. It almost cost them the game in this one. All right. And like I said, the Eagles just haven't been, listen, they're 2-1. They haven't convinced anybody, I don't think, that they're legitimate, contenders here in the NFC. What do you think about this game, and what's your takeaway from it?
No, I agree. And I'm still not sold on the Eagles. Yeah, they went in there. I'm 3-0. 0-3 picking in this with the Eagles this year. Whether I take them to win or lose, it doesn't matter. I've been wrong, but they're not as good. They're not as good as their record right now. I don't believe. the Saints showed that they weren't as good as their record. Yeah, I mean the Eagles still have some defense. They got some defensive players, and when you said that the game was marred by, I thought you were going to the cheap shots. New Orleans is a very cheap team. I mean, that
Yeah, I was
guy that
watching Red Zone channel, so I didn't see it.
the guy that gave Devontae Smith a concussion and then stood up and spit on him. Yeah, I still don't know whether he's gotten suspended yet. And the offensive lineman ran Darius Slay out of bounds about 8 yards and then pushed him to the ground, and there was no call on that. I mean, they were playing some cheap ball.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I did see the Devontae Smith hit. I didn't really think that it was anything crazy. I thought he was being held up, and the guy came in and hit him. I mean, but I didn't see the spit. I mean, that's crazy if true. That's some Bill Roman.
True. I saw it. I saw it.
Well, that's some Bill Romanowski type stuff. So
right.
Anyway, Ravens, another NFC East team, Cowboys. Ravens beat the Cowboys in a high-scoring affair by a score of 28-25 here. Talk about a team that's in disarray. These Cowboys, what the hell is going on with them? Ravens come out, put up 456 yards on one of the supposed top-ranked defenses in the NFL. Cowboys go for 412 yards. Lamar Jackson, 12 of 15 for 182 and a touchdown. Nice little completion percentage there. But, again, he only had to throw the ball 15 times. Dak, on the other hand, goes 28 of 51 for 379 and 2 touchdowns. I don't know, man. You got to throw the ball 51 times. Man, you got absolutely no running game, and they don't. They really don't. Talk about a resurgence. I think we were both on record saying that Derrick Henry's best days were behind him.
Yeah.
Henry goes off, man, and he's been having himself a nice year. 25 of 51, or 25 for 151 and 2 touchdowns. Had himself a nice day. You did say that he was over the hill, right? Like he didn't expect him to do well.
Oh no, and it's early. I mean,
sure, it's early, but he's coming out and he's having some good days.
He's had 2 nice games now in a row. I mean, the first week he didn't do much against Kansas City. He scored, but he didn't do a whole lot, rushing the ball.
All right, what'd you take from this one?
But you know what, Sling, I don't think the Ravens are as good as they played for 3 quarters on Sunday. And I don't think Dallas is as bad as they played for, I could say that about damn near 80% of the teams, though, this year, the way things are going. Somewhere in between, things are going to start leveling out. But, Dallas isn't they're not as bad as giving up 72 points at home to Baltimore and, New Orleans back to back. And
well, they got to figure it out. They don't have a running game. And
no,
Dak's going to have to throw 50 times a game. I think we saw that this week, and that's what it's going to be for the rest of the year. I mean, holy smokes! You talk about fantasy play. If he's in your lineup, if he's on your team, get him in your lineup.
Oh, sure. You want a quarterback like that for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
We'll see. Moving forward. It's another team.
Yeah, Minnesota thumps the Texans behind. Oh, wait, that's weird. I guess punctuation is key here because you could take this as Minnesota thumps the Texans behind.
Yeah,
or you could take it as Minnesota thumps the Texans, comma, behind Sam Darnold. So punctuation is key here, folks. This one would insinuate that Minnesota thumped the Texans behind, which they did. So both ring true here. To a score of 34-7, Minnesota beats the Texans in a very surprising victory. Not to say that they couldn't have won, but to do it in this fashion was surprising to me. Sam Darnold, 17-28, 181 and 4 touchdowns. C.J. Stroud goes 20-31 for 215, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. And listen, not you talk about the Cowboys not having a rushing attack this week. Houston didn't have a rushing attack either. They rushed for what? 33, 36, 38 yards total. Whew, that's not a good day. Where Jones for the Vikings went 19 for 102. Did you see this one coming, Prophet? You probably didn't because you had the Texans bet.
I had the Texans in this one, and guess what? I mean, here's another team that they've got issues that we just talked about. Dallas, they got to get it fixed. The Texans got to get it fixed. Okay, yeah, they're 2-1, but I don't understand with that defense. They're supposed to be a top-notch defense, but they're terrible against the pass. And, Jefferson, Addison was out this week. Jefferson still goes off for 85 against them. Like, you can't double or triple team, and that's the only receiver they had on their team. And, they gave up a ton of yards to Indy the first week. They gave up big yardage through the air to the Vikings this week. They got to get it straightened out. And the Vikings defense made C.J. Stroud look like a young boy.
Yeah.
The Vikings played well, but again, they're playing over their heads in my mind. But
who, the Vikings?
The Vikings are, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I think, like you said, you could talk about it for a lot of teams, and one team that comes to mind here is the Bengals, and Jaden Daniels' shine as the Bengals fall to 0-3 here. And you predicted this a couple weeks ago with Jaden Daniels having a coming out party, man, and really being a quarterback that, you want to get on your lineup. Daniels goes 21 of 23 for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has as many touchdowns as he had incompletions, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Now, on the flip side, Joe Burrow had himself a nice day. He went 29 of 38 for 325 and 3 touchdowns. All right. Not a whole lot of rushing out of the Commanders, but they're able to get the job done. And, you got Zach Moss leading the way here for the Bengals with 12 carries and 58 yards and a touchdown. Listen, ever since Joe Burrow started identifying as Ellen DeGeneres, these guys are 0-3 here. And I don't know what's going on with them, but they got to figure it out. And are the Commanders for real? That's my question to you.
No, I think Washington is. They've got Jaden Daniels for one. They got nice young receivers still there. Now I see that Eckler's out this week, but having Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler in your backfield, that's a pretty nice backfield. Kingsbury knows how to work with these young quarterbacks. He did well with Murray for a year or two out there in Arizona. They're going to put points up. Question is, can they stop anybody from putting points up? And Cincinnati put 33 up on them, and not surprising. Cincinnati's got a nice offensive team, but Cincinnati is in trouble right now. I mean, they're 3 games out of the division already with 3 games played.
Yeah, but can they turn? I mean, you just said that they're a nice offensive team. Is that enough to get them through here as the season rolls on, or what?
I don't think so, Sling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be, I don't think they're going to be a 7-10 team, but I think they're going to be lucky to break 500 at this point.
Damn.
And it's crazy because I had them picked to win the division. I think you did also.
Yeah, I believe I did. So that'll be 200 down the old pipe there, the division picks. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out, but that'll wrap it up for our weekly roundup segment. As always, our most exciting segment of the night, I guess sometimes, unless we get into a heated debate in the what's happening segment like we did tonight. But hey, that we rounded up week 3 of the NFL action. We're rolling on to week 4, and we're rolling into our games of the week, and we don't have any time to waste because we spent a lot of time talking tonight. So we're going to dive right into it, and we're going to dive into our first game, which takes place tomorrow night, live from New Jersey. I don't care what their logo says there in New York. It's New Jersey. They play in the Meadowlands they play at MetLife. It's in Newark, New Jersey, or East Rutherford. I'm sorry. We got the Dallas Cowboys visiting the New York Giants. Dallas comes in as a 4.5-point favorite. Over under set at 45. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm just going to go out and say it right now. Giants win this game outright tomorrow night. They played well last week. Neighbors went off. Cowboys are reeling a little bit. Prime time, home field. I think they're wearing their celebratory commemorative jerseys or uniforms for their 100th season or whatever it is. I got the Giants winning outright tomorrow night. Go ahead, Prophet. Tell me you agree. Tell me how much you agree with me.
I'm gonna let you know right now, okay? Dallas, 9-1 the last 10. Okay, and they're 6-0 the last 6 against the Giants. Last year they beat them. They put up 40 on them in New York on opening night, I believe it was. Beat them 40-0. Beat them 47-17 at home last year. These two teams have not changed that drastically to where the Giants have any shot in this game. I got Dallas 31-10.
Wow, 31-10. You're making the dogs freaking bark with that prediction, all right? I don't know if I agree with that. I know I don't agree with it. I got the Giants here. I might not even put a score on it, but the Giants are going to come out. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to be hitting on all cylinders, and it's going to be the turn that they need to get to that division, like I said they would.
2 weeks in a row now, you got a Thursday night game up in East Rutherford, man.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're moving on. We got a big-time rivalry here between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers, NFC North. Frozen tundra. Well, it's not frozen yet. It's only September. Minnesota comes in as 2.5-point underdogs. Don't know what the over-under is because that's your job, Prophet. And it looks like you might have missed a number there.
No, that's your job, but okay. 43.5.
43.5. Over-under 43.5. Listen, I'm not sold. We talked about Malik Willis being a savior to the Packers fans. If he can go 2-2, they'd be happy. I think this is going to be one of those losses. Vikings are going to come in. Vikings are hot behind Sam Darnold. They got a great receiving core. The Vikings are going to come in and beat the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field.
Minnesota's beaten Purdy and Stroud the last 2 weeks, albeit in Minnesota, but they, two pretty good quarterbacks and teams. And I just can't see, I can't see them not beating Malik Willis this week. I got Minnesota winning 30-17. We talked about Minnesota or Green Bay last week, Sling, and we said, Green Bay would be ecstatic if they go 2-2. When they get to week 5 when Love comes back. Well, even if they lose, they're 2-2. I'm hoping LaFleur doesn't rush Love back because there is words coming out of Green Bay right now that Love could play in this game.
Yeah, I heard there was rumors that he could play in the last game.
Yeah, well, that ended before Sunday, but
right.
It didn't start until later in the week. Already they're talking about he might be available.
Well, we'll see. I guess what's this, a 1:00 game? We'll see at 11:30 Monday or Sunday morning when the actives inactives come out. We're moving on. We got another big one here. Buffalo at Baltimore. Buffalo comes in at 2.5-point underdogs, which doesn't make sense to me. Over-under set here at 46.5. Listen, Baltimore's coming off a big win here against the Cowboys. Lamar had himself a nice little game, but I think, what'd the Bills do?
They beat Jacksonville Monday night.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm not sold on that, even though they beat the crap out of them. I'm going Bills here. I got Bills over the Ravens in the Ravens' home stadium. Josh Allen's coming in. He's playing well. He had 4 touchdowns in the first half on Monday night. I expect a lot of that to continue this week.
Well, we agree on this one here. I am just not sold on the win last week by the Ravens over I'm not going to say they're a bad team, but they're a bad team right now, Dallas. They were 0-2 going into that game. Buffalo's coming in. They're on a roll. I see the roll continuing. I got Buffalo at 27 to 16.
27-16, the Bills over the Ravens of Baltimore. I will tell you what, though, Baltimore's got a fun atmosphere, man. They know how to tailgate down there. They got crab cakes and football, baby. That's what Maryland does. You know what I'm saying? So if you get a chance to go down to a Ravens game, have some fun down there in Charm City. We're moving on. Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. Lions not what they once were a year ago. But Seattle's coming in hot, riding the coattails of Geno Smith. Over under set at 47 points here. Detroit 4.5-point favorites, and I do not like that at all. I got the Seahawks coming into this one, and I got Seahawks winning outright here. I just got a weird feeling that DK Metcalf is going to go off in this game, and he might have over 160 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. So if that happens, we'll come back and we'll clip that up and make sure you check back here. But I got the Seahawks beating the Lions in this one.
Yeah, I guess you're looking.
And I like how you take notes too, because if I ever go 5 for 5 in these picks, I want to know about it. All right.
Oh, I'll let you know. You got to win more than 2 games though to go 5 for 5. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're looking down at my notes. Are you able to see down there?
No, I'm not able to see down there.
Yeah, Seattle's won the last 6 games in this series, and the last 2 have been in Detroit the last 2 years, and they beat with Goff, with Geno Smith, similar teams, and they've gone into Detroit and won. I think they go into Detroit Sunday night and win again. 35-31 Seattle.
35-31 Seattle. High scoring affair there in Detroit. When do they play? Sunday night, you said?
Sunday night, yeah.
That's a nice little game on Sunday night. There's something about Sunday night game that I just enjoy, man. I'm usually so the way Sundays work, I try and get my buzz on in the morning. So I start at like 11, try and get a little buzz going by like 2, and then I stop drinking at 2, and then I'm sober by the end of the night, and I enjoy a nice, maybe a bowl of ice cream in bed or something like that, and watch the Sunday night football games. It's a nice little Sunday routine that I have going. But yeah, I do enjoy Sunday night football. I'm usually asleep by halftime, but
if you buy the pints, you don't have to scoop.
Yeah, well, that's that. Yeah, but the pints are about $8 something a friggin' pint now, so $8 a pint. So I guess everything's going up, but. Hey, that'll bring us to our jug handle-in game of the week, and we saved
the jug.
We saved the best. We saved a game for last. We saved the Eagles game for last. The jug handle-in game of the week. Jug handle-in located on Route 73 in Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Delicious, juicy wings, and they got a whole bunch of other stuff too. I saw some pictures that they posted the other day. They got these cheese fries that I really want to go try out. Burgers look delicious, but hey, as always, if you're in the South Jersey area, you're looking for the best wings, stop into the Jug Handle. Jug Handle In. Got wings. Jug Handle In game of the week puts the Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm curious to see if this game happens. We're praying. We got Florida in our thoughts and prayers. They're bracing for a huge, huge hurricane that's about to bear down right on Tampa Bay. I'd be curious to see if this game is actually going to take place. But if it does, we got the Eagles here at -2.5. They're 2.5-point favorites over the Buccaneers. Over-under coming in at 45 points. Listen, I know the Buccaneers didn't have a great outing last week. They got beat pretty bad, took a bad loss. Of course, they do that when I pick up Baker Mayfield in my fantasy league. But I'm not sold on the Eagles at all. We talked about it earlier in the show. Just out of my own sanity, I'm going Buccaneers here. I'm going Buccaneers 28, Eagles 24. All right, Buccaneers 28, Eagles 24 in this one. Again, I really don't know if it's going to be played or if the game's going to be moved. Be curious to see how that plays out with the hurricane bearing down on they said it's supposed to make landfall as a Category 4 possibly tomorrow or early Friday, late tomorrow, early Friday. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think they'll be fine. I mean, they might have to move the game to. This isn't the Sunday night. I mean, Monday night game, is it?
No, it's
No. So
just a Sunday afternoon.
yeah, they might end up moving. They might end up moving it to Monday if they have to. But you know, not. I'm not. If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to go back and check last week's show. But I think in my quarterback sit segment last week was Baker Mayfield, and some people just don't listen.
Prophet, what happened? Your microphone's going out again. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can't. Philadelphia they were reeling last year when they went into Tampa Bay and they got drubbed in the playoffs. What was it, 31-9, I think. Uh, I'm not sure that this team's any better than they were then. Now, A.J. Brown is still probably not going to be on the field, which hurts them big time. Devontae Smith's dealing with concussion. I got Tampa Bay in this one. I think it's going to be close, but 21-17.
21-17 from Prophet, 28-24 from me. That's your jug handling game of the week. Eagles at the Buccaneers. Hoping everybody's safe down there in Tampa Bay. If you're making the trip down, please be safe. Please be smart. Again, be safe to all the people in Florida that are bracing for this storm. That'll wrap it up for our game of the week segment, Prophet. We kind of rolled through that. I like it. We're getting better at timing these things out. I can get down with that. 2 or 3 minutes per clip here. We're moving right into the Prophet's fantasy headquarters, where we want to hear all the top fantasy plays. And listen, if you got any plays like that Chuba Hubbard play last week, I think the people are going to be all ears, because that was a bold prediction. What do you got? What do you got this week, Prophet? And start with your stardoms, I guess.
Yeah, I start with the stardoms. I'll say fantasy was actually one of my highlights this past weekend. I did really well in the DraftKings fantasy pool that you get into. And the Jets in Carolina. Other than that, man. And Chuba Hubbard. But okay, starts. Jared Goff hasn't been playing well. He's been very unreliable. Okay. I made reference to this game in the last segment. The last 2 years, he's going against Seattle in Detroit. He's thrown for 701 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Okay. I see this happening again this week. I see a high scoring game in this game. You got Jared Goff. Get him in your lineup. Running back, Najee Harris. Okay. It's looking like Jaylen Warren isn't going to be playing this week. And they're going against the 31 ranked run defense in Indianapolis. Najee's going to have a big game. You got him in your lineup. Get him.
Well, you got him on your roster. You messed up your own catchphrase. Prophet.
I know.
If you got him on your team, get him in your lineup.
I'm moving too fast.
Najee Harris. That's a bold prediction there.
I got somebody in my ear saying, okay, speed it up.
Yeah, good. Now you know how I feel every Saturday.
And my wide receiver, DJ Moore. Okay, Moore's been so this year, and he's due for a breakout game. I see it happening this week. You got DJ Moore on your team. You get him in your lineup. Okay.
DJ Moore. That would have to mean that Caleb Williams would have a big game, which I don't necessarily agree with.
And my sits, quarterback Richardson. Hasn't been doing real well this year. Now he gets the top-ranked defense coming into town in the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Richardson on your team. You put him on your bench. Okay. Any Seattle running back going against the number 4 run defense in the league, and they're going to have to throw the ball to win this game. Put him on your bench, whether it be Walker if he plays or Charbonnet if not. Okay. And along the same lines, Miami receivers. Doesn't matter. You got Hill, you got Waddle.
Yeah.
get him on your bench, guys. I mean, that quarterback situation is terrible down there.
I saw something today on Twitter. It said it was a tweet from a fake Dolphins account, but it looked real, and it said wanted if you own a Dolphins jersey and if you've ever thrown a spiral in your life, show up to a lot of free tryouts tomorrow at the Dolphins training facility. Here's the address, blah, blah, blah. We got quarterback tryouts. So maybe I'll go down there. Maybe they're looking for a nice 300+ pound quarterback that can still throw it a little bit.
I mean, they're talking that Huntley may be starting this week. Thompson got hurt last week, and Tim Boyle really didn't do a whole lot when he went in there. They may give the ball to Huntley, but
yeah, they're in trouble down there, Prophet.
Yeah.
All right.
And your pickups, okay?
Pickups
at quarterback. Yeah, you touched on it. You hit the nail on the head. If DJ Moore is going to have a big game, that means Caleb Williams is going to need to have a big game.
Look, I'm smart.
Okay. He's going up against the 28th ranked defense, and he's only rostered on 54% of the team. So,
Larry says Chubba Daly.
Hey, that's not nice. I lost a couple. Oh, you're talking about
Larry. That was one of the funniest things you've ever said, man. That was good. They used to call me Ben Roethlis double cheeseburger, but that was better than Chubba, or that Chubba Daly tops that one. Anyway, so you said Caleb Williams is a pickup.
Caleb Williams is a pickup. Okay, running back Chase Brown going up against a bad Carolina run defense, and he's been showing spurts of explosiveness. He could go off this week. Moss had a decent game. I think 5 yards per run the other night. Brown was averaging 9 yards per run. He's going to start getting more time. You need a running back this week. Okay, he's only rostered on 54% of the team, so he's available. And last and certainly not least is Khalil Shakir. Okay, Buffalo's going to have to throw the ball down to Baltimore to win this week, and Shakir is Allen's go-to guy, rostered on 64% of the teams. You need a wide receiver this week. Pick up Khalil Shakir, and that's it for the fantasy plays, guys. Just remember one thing: these pickups, okay, these are. I mean, you choose. If you do pick them up and you keep them, that's good. That's on you. But these guys that I'm putting out are for this week, solely for this week. That I think have a shot at having a big game this week.
Thank you, Prophet. As always, thank you for visiting the Prophet's Fantasy Headquarters. Prophet, did you get any emails this week or no?
Yeah, I got probably 24 or so. Let me see. I'm only going to read like 20 of them though. Okay, at this point, so we got time.
No, we don't.
First, let me say, congratulations to Die Hard in Charlotte. I told you it was going to happen, and the Panthers got that win for you. So good for you guys there. Okay. This question comes from New to the Game, and they say, I just started betting football games this season. My question is, how many sports books should I have? And if you're new to the game, okay, I would suggest one until you get your feet wet and start understanding things and how they work. There's so much that you can bet on. I personally have 3 different accounts. I don't like playing 7, the line 7, 6.5. I buy points. Lots of times when you buy points, it costs you money. So lots of times you can get a 6.5 line at one site and get it for 6 at another. That's why I got 3, so I can search lines to get the best line. But for right now, I would say just get your feet wet and stay with one. Thanks for the question.
You got all kinds of promotions and stuff like that go on too. And I guess I only use one, but I do have 2. But I don't know. People live and die by these promotions and all these these boosted bets and free bets and risk free, all the money back, blah blah blah. So,
well, I mean, the one I think it may be the one with Kevin Hart in the commercial. I'm not sure, but they're offering you $1,000 in free bets when you sign up, and so. And not saying that you're going to sign up and with $1,000 and make a bet, but I mean it's a no lose bet if you do. You put $1,000 in the account, you bet 1,000 on the Eagles. If they lose, you get $1,000 in free bets back. So
yeah, I mean if you have $1,000 to play, if not, whatever you put up to 1,000,
right,
I'm not sure,
right?
But,
but they'll do up to 1,000, so that's why
Well, speaking of all this sports betting sites and whatnot, we're getting into our plays of the week segment, and I don't know if I've ever seen this one, Prophet.
It's disgusting.
I've seen this one, all red on the top. I've never seen all red on the bottom, and we're going to change that. We're going to change that this week, okay? So my Syracuse play didn't hit, my Patriots play didn't hit, and my anytime touchdown score didn't hit. Your Houston play didn't hit. Your over Atlanta didn't hit, and your Bijan Robinson first TD score didn't hit. We're just going to move on. We're just going to move on.
Let me just say real quick, and I hope you guys, said the heck with the odds and played Bijan Robinson to score any time. Yeah, I played him as the first last week. Hey, it was a loss, but he did score a touchdown last week, so hopefully some of you's cashed in.
Let me just say something real quick. It's Prophet's famous line. Let me just say something real quick. Every time. Anyway, we're moving on to the plays of the week here. My plays of the week. I think I'm going to go at least 2 for 3 this week. That's the hope, I guess. Tomorrow night, college football. Army -13 over Temple. 100 to win 190. Army's undefeated this year, and Temple's not very good. I got Army -13 over Temple on a Thursday night at the Link. They're offering free tickets to all the high schools. There's nobody going to be at this game. If they're offering up tickets like that, Army's just going to go in and spank these guys. Another college game, I got JMU -20.5 over Ball State. JMU had a big win last week over North Carolina. They beat the crap out of them to the tune of like 60 points or something along those lines. I got
70-50. They beat
them.
Yeah,
it was one of the highest scoring games I've ever seen in college. But yeah, JMU -20.5 over Ball State, 100 to win 190. And then I got a little touchdown parlay as always. I got CeeDee Lamb, Breece Hall, and Saquon Barkley, which is, look, that's a pretty, if you're, no parlays are ever, good odds, but that's pretty high odds there, to highly likely that's going to happen. I got a feeling. I got 50 to win 241. I got to get back on the winning track here, because I'm going to be out of points here before the middle of the season if we keep going this way. I'm not into these. I'm not used to these big bets, these $100 bets. So I got to start.
If I'm not mistaken, last year you mysteriously found some extra money laying around the production room there.
I don't know what you're talking about. All my wins last week were documented and legitimate. Okay. So I got 996. I'm betting 250. I'm down to 746. Do you remember your bets, or can you see them on the screen there to talk about them?
No, I got them written down here. Okay. And this week, I looked the card over, and I'm sure I'm going to play more than just these two. Guys, that's one thing, okay? What I put on the screen, I don't put them on there for you guys. I play these bets also. I may not play them at them numbers. I try and keep it a little lower for the show. But, if I put down over 47 on the Seattle game, I'm on it, okay? And like I touched on earlier with this Seattle-Detroit game, the last 2 years in Detroit, they played this game. They scored 83 points and 68 points. And the year before that, they played in Seattle and scored 80 points. So I can't see this game staying under the 47. I'm wagering 220 to win 420 on the over 47 Seattle Detroit, and then I'm playing the Jets also against Denver. Okay, this game falls under my 420 system, and I wasn't at all surprised with Denver going in and winning last week. They're going to get spanked this week, though. I'm buying this line down. The line is 7. I'm buying it down to 6.5, even though I think they're going to win by 17. And I'm wagering 256 to bring back 456. So I think I got 783 left there in the bank before this week. But
yeah, you're only going with 2 plays this week that are documented, obviously. If you want more plays, you could always email the Prophet, and he will give you those, whatever he's playing, for free. We don't charge for any of that stuff. That's the beauty of the Sling'n Proffet podcast. Everything that we do, we give it away gratis, no cost to you guys. Hopefully, we have a better week this week, Prophet, in that category, because it's been rough. It's been rough going for sure. But like you said, we get back on the horse. We live to fight another day, and hopefully things will start changing here in the NFL, or maybe they won't, and then we have to adapt to it, right?
Right, and then we change. In fact, I agree with you, Val. That was phenomenal.
What's that?
I can't figure out how to put his quote up there, but he was talking about the promo from the wrestling last week.
Yeah, I haven't watched Raw in a while. So, all right, that'll wrap it up for us, though. Another weekly podcast here from Sling'n Proffet. We'll be back live next Wednesday night, 8 p.m., as always, reviewing all the NFL action, all the football action in the world of sports. I think the only sports action right now is football. So you can probably count on that's all we're going to be talking about. But again, until next week, hopefully we got a better week on the sports books here. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, all.